What's up, dogs? And welcome to SLC Puck. Woo! Tuning in to episode 52 of SLC Puck. You know, here's the way. I'm not good at math, right? That's why, I'm in the sports media game, right? That's just the natural progression. Not a lot of people who are good in math go into this line of work or hobby or whatever you want to call this. Except, of course, for David Locke. He's really good at math. But I think the way the math comes out, if you were to watch every episode of SLC Puck consecutively, and the episodes are like 25 minutes long, right? So if you were to watch all 52 episodes back to back to back, I think that would amount to like the same amount of time as Donald Trump's appearance on the Joe Rogan podcast. So just keep that in mind, right? Like, can you imagine how deranged it would be if SLC Puck became a 3-hour-long production? That would be something else. I don't have the stamina for that, I'll tell you that. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in, taking a break from your Joe Rogan podcast or whatever the heck you're doing to listen to me today. Today we're recording, it's October 27th, year of our Lord, 2024. You might be listening to this today on Sunday or perhaps tomorrow, Monday, maybe KSL.com, maybe Apple, maybe Spotify, maybe YouTube, wherever you are. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Definitely appreciate all the love, all the support. If you really love the show and you want people to know it, here's how you can do that, okay? I've set up a little merch shop for you at slcpuck.shop. Got lots of good stuff here, some sweatshirts, hats, beanies. That'll come in handy here in October, end of October into November, and even into December. See, that's a great practical purchase. All the usage you can get out of that beanie. I definitely take a look at that. Some pieces of flair as well, stickers, lots of good stuff. It's a great way to support the show, and I know a lot of you guys make donations too when you purchase, so that's definitely appreciated. And I try to send a little video thank you every time I get an order in. So big thanks to you guys for doing that. Made some upgrades here at SLC Puck Studios, so the show's going to come at you bigger and better than ever here. So that'll be a lot of fun. But I want to start the show today and acknowledging the fact that the Utah Hockey Club is in a little bit of a slide. They're in a 3-game losing streak right now. The offense has sputtered. If you're a fan of the Utah Hockey Club and the University of Utah football team, you have the same gripes, right? The offense has gone nowhere, and it's tough to watch. But I want to start by telling a story, and it'll eventually relate to what I'm talking to, what I think is happening with the Utah Hockey Club. Now, as I've said many times on this show, and it's been a theme here, I grew up in Utah playing youth hockey, DCYHA, Davis County Youth Hockey Association, Junior Golden Eagles, Viewmont High School, all that good stuff, right? And I just loved hockey growing up. It was really just a huge part of my life. It was like my favorite thing. My mom said it was what made me unique among my peers, among my friends. I was the only one who played hockey. And so a lot of times, I would spend a lot of time playing hockey video games or even going out and practicing hockey, playing a little street hockey in the backyard. Now, I was lucky enough that we had a sport court in our backyard growing up in Centerville. And don't for a second think it's because we're rich. We were not. My dad was a sports writer. My mom taught 5th grade, so not rich, but we had a fun little sport court. Became a great place to throw on the roller skates, stick handle a little bit. I had a nice little net, all that. Great place to go out and practice. I didn't practice as much as I could have or should have. That's maybe why I didn't make it to the bigs, right? But I still love to go out. The thing was, I didn't really practice my shooting in a very effective way. And I think a lot of people, young hockey players, have this issue where there's nothing more fun to do when you're shooting a hockey puck than to try to roof your shot, to try to hit it top shelf, go bar down. You do, it's not the most, I guess, goal-friendly place to shoot. I think there's other places on the net that you can aim for. But aiming for the top shelf, that's really where you see a lot of immature hockey players try to shoot. And especially if you've ever seen like a peewee team practice, all the kids are just flipping the puck in the air, trying to hit the crossbar or right below it, all that, right? So I remember, that was sort of my practice mentality. It was like, ooh, I'm going to try to just go bar down, when I'm playing around in the backyard. And one day was doing so in the backyard, trying to go bar down, top shelf. And wouldn't you know it, I missed wildly. I shot this one puck. It was not a slap shot. It was just a weak little wrist shot. Went over the net, probably cleared it by a good 3 or 4 feet. Went over the net, over the fence that, surrounded our backyard, and went into the neighbor's yard until it collided with their double pane glass window in their kitchen, shattering it into pieces. It made a terrific sound, by the way. I remember as soon as the puck came off my stick, I gasped. I was like, holy hell, that's going to be bad. My first fear is that it was going to hit my parents' vinyl fence, and I did hit the vinyl fence quite a few times and put a lot of holes in that. Mom didn't like that. Dad didn't like that either. This was even worse. It went over the fence, hit the window, shattered into a zillion pieces. I go sprinting into the house. Mom, I just broke the porter's window. Ah! Like, so scared, didn't know what to do. I was like 15. It was just an immature young hockey moment, right? So anyway, long story short, I pull off my skates. We go over next door to the porter's house. I apologize, and they were like, "What the heck?" Well, we thought the house was hit by a Scud missile. What the hell's going on? And anyway, so we talk all that. I pay for the window. I don't remember how much it was. Probably a couple $100 or whatever. But I remember our neighbor said something funny, like, I bet you're never gonna miss the net again that way. I did, by the way. I didn't hit the window again, but I kept missing the net. But I think that's what's happening right now with the Utah Hockey Club. And, I'm not saying these guys are, shooting the puck like peewee hockey players, but they're not shooting the puck particularly well. And I think that's a big part of why they're struggling right now. They're experiencing a bit of a slide, right? So from the first 3 games of the year, they had 16 goals that led the NHL. Obviously, the highlight was Dylan Guenther, who had 5 goals in that 3-game stretch. That was a lot of fun. I did an episode about how he was the scariest player in the NHL. It's not very scary right now. It's sort of quelled quite a bit. But since that 3-game stretch, the Utah Hockey Club's been outscored 22-8, including 12-3 over the last 3 games. I'm trying to figure out what's happening. I'm like, I went through the highlights. I looked at the highlights of their wins. I've looked at their losses. I've watched every game. I'm like, what's going on with this team? And I think what it really comes down to is they're just not shooting the puck very well at all. They're shooting in a way that would smash some windows of their neighbors' houses. And I think the statistics just back that up. So let me show you guys something here. I love this website. It's called moneypuck.com. Do you get it? It's kind of like Moneyball, but, because they don't play with balls in hockey, they call it money puck. Okay, you guys get it. But anyway, looking at this stat here, it really breaks it down in an interesting way. And I want to introduce you guys to a couple of phrases here that I'm just learning about. And maybe if you're new to hockey, this will be new to you. Apologies if you're a veteran hockey fan or whatever. This might seem remedial. Apologies, right? But anyway, looking at this moneypuck.com, sort of the team breakdown here, and we're just looking at 5-on-5 stats. Looking here at goals for the Utah Hockey Club. Again, they started the year leading the league in goals with 16. Now that they're 9 games into the season, slowed down quite a bit. They find themselves at 18th, just 16 goals. This is 5-on-5, right? So if we're going to go into all situations, you can see the Utah Hockey Club scored 25 goals this season. But again, we'll go back to 5-on-5 because I think there's a lot of stats here that are telling. Now, I want to draw your attention to this column right here, shot attempts, right? The Corsi percentage. Now, Corsi brings up not only the shots that go on goal, but also the shots that are blocked or miss the net. So, if you watch the score bug during the game, you'll see SOG, that's shots on goal. That can indicate quality shots, shots that make the goalie work for it to keep the puck out of the net, right? That's the goalie's job, by the way, is to keep the puck out of the net. The other players put the puck in the net, but the goalie keeps it out. So kind of interesting. I don't know if you knew that. But anyway, looking at the shot attempts right here on 5-on-5, the issue is not the number of shots that the Utah Hockey Club is getting. They're getting a ton of shots. They're getting the 4th most shots in the NHL on 5-on-5. trailing only Carolina, Edmonton, Nashville, some really powerhouse offensive clubs, right? So Utah's Corsi percentage is 4th best in the NHL. But if we are to go down this column, look at the spreadsheet, and again, this might be a boring episode. It's got a little bit of math in it, right? But I'm trying to spice it up with a story of my youth and a silly costume. So, and hopefully that makes up for the fact that we're having to look at numbers. But if you go further down here, and again, we're looking at 5-on-5, expected goals for, right? Utah is not scoring as many goals as the numbers would indicate. So you see 16 goals for on 5-on-5. Expected goals for, that's 8. They're at 18.23. And they calculate this not only by like the number of shots, but where the shots are coming from. And, if you watch like a game cast, they make a little marker where each shot is taken. And based on like, what percentage of shots from that area go in and stuff, it's all kinds of math and whatnot, right? But expected goals for, they should be getting more goals, right? It's 18.23. That could be bad puck luck. That could be facing hot goaltenders. It could be a few different things, right? But to me, the most telling statistic, and we'll go further down, is the right here where you go shooting percentage of shot attempts that are blocked. Now, think about this. If you're trying to shoot the puck in such a way that it goes past the defenders, past the goalies, and into the net, you probably don't want your shot to get blocked, right? Because if it gets blocked, it's going to be hard to score. And if it's hard to score, if you're having a hard time scoring, you're going to have a hard time winning hockey games, right? I think that follows. But look right here. Let's drill this down here. Percentage of shot attempts that are blocked. You can see right here, Utah's shots are getting blocked almost as much as every other team in the NHL. Their shots are getting blocked at the 3rd highest rate in the NHL, just behind San Jose and Dallas right here. So I think that's a telling statistic. They're not finding the open passing lanes. They're not finding the good windows. The teams they've been playing against, the guys are getting bodies on the ice, sacrificing themselves to keep Utah's shots away from the net. But here it gets even worse, because look at this statistic right here. Percentage of unblocked shot attempts for that miss the net, right? So this is what happens when you're maybe flipping the puck in the air, trying to go top shelf, and not only do you not go top shelf, you miss the net entirely, send it over the fence and into your neighbor's window. That's kind of what's happening here. So let's drill this down. Percentage of unshot block attempts that miss the net. So Ottawa's doing at the least highest rate right there. We're going to click it again to sort it the other way. You can see Utah's percentage of unblocked shot attempts that miss the net. That's happening at the highest rate in the NHL. Now let's look at this. Expected shot percentage of unblocked shot attempts that miss the net. Again, that shouldn't be happening. But you look at this. Utah is missing the net almost 12%. They're at 11% more often than it should. They are shooting the puck very poorly, to say the least. And they're not, I think it really comes down to like not capitalizing on opportunities. If you're to ask me what I think just watching the games, and I think, I believe his name's Tom Callahan. He's a co-host of the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast. He said this in a tweet during the game that I thought was a bit telling. I think they're overthinking it a little bit too much at this point. And if you watch the game, they're really trying to get set up in their offensive zone, passing the puck around, looking for the perfect shot, looking for the one-timer from Dylan Guenther, all that. They're just, I think at a certain point, you just got to try to get the puck on the net. And I wish there was a website. I'm sure there is somewhere. And if you know it, drop it in the comments. I would love to be aware of it. I would love to know what part of the net the Utah Hockey Club is shooting at when it comes to, trying to get the puck past the goalie, because when you're shooting on net, right? And so this is going to be like a bad visual, right? But it's kind of to scale. Hockey goal is about 6x4. You're looking at the corners, right? You're looking at these top corners, bottom corners, and then right in the middle between the legs, they call that the 5-hole. I wonder if they're shooters, and I've noticed this watching Dylan Guenther's game. He's always trying to go top left. And I would be very interested in maybe digging into all his shot attempts this year to see how many times he's missing the net trying to go for this corner. It seems to me the key to success, the key to turning this around is to get away from the desire to score like the sexy goal, to try to go bar down, to try to go top shelf. I think it's a great looking goal. It's a lot of fun, but I really think what they want to do is try to go more for these dirty rebound opportunities that come when you shoot the puck lower. You go for these lower corners, 5-hole, or even, if you're in this area, you shoot for a rebound, which puts the puck in a high danger zone for your teammate to swoop in and just punch it in on the rebound. I think that if they just focus on hitting a different part of the net, you might see the Utah Hockey Club's fortune turn around. And I love playing NHL 25. I buy the NHL game every year. It's almost the same game every year, but still, EA Sports is going to get $70 out of me. Like clockwork. Every time the calendar year comes around, the new game comes out, I'm going to buy the new game. And it's fun. The version of the game I like to play the most is the My Player, My Career mode, where you build your own little character and, you play through juniors, you get drafted into the NHL, you try to make the roster, maybe you go to the minors and then you work your way back up to the NHL. But a lot of time, what I have found from playing that game is the best way to sort of pad your stats in that game is not to overthink it, to try to work the puck around in the offensive zone. And again, this is bad advice. I'm giving advice based on what I did as a teenager and how I behave when I play NHL 25. But if you just get the puck on net, rebound opportunities happen. And it's not sexy, but it's a great way to get the score going in your favor. And if you're the Utah Hockey Club, I think you see that kind of working over the last couple games. Most encouraging was probably the other night against the Kings, right? So, down 3-2. I think you saw them scoring, trying to get the puck on net more as the game progressed. And their second goal, I think, was really a good indicator of this, really a good example of what I'm talking about. Michael Kesselring, and I should have had the replay ready. Sorry about that. But Michael Kesselring goes down. He takes the puck, and he's blazing along the boards. And he just kind of, he's almost right by the goal line, and he just kind of backhands it, just kind of flicks it towards the net. And he ends up finding, this log jam in front of the net where Logan Cooley's there, and Darcy Kemper, who is the Kings goalie, kind of just get tangled up together. Cooley finds a way to get his stick blade or maybe a skate blade on the puck and punches it in for his first goal of the year. And by the way, I was really excited for Cooley because I know he's really been wanting his goal. He's a 20-goal scorer, and he had been slumping to start the year. It probably wasn't very fun for him to see all his teammates racking up the goals, and he was getting a lot of assists, but that first goal was kind of hard to get, and he found it by just crashing the net, getting an ugly, dirty goal. It wasn't a sexy Dylan Gunther goal at all, but he got in close to the net, and I think it all started with Michael Kesselring just flicking the puck towards the net, low on the ice, in such a way that Cooley could, find himself in a position to score in a high-danger area. I would love to see the Utah Hockey Club do more of that, and I think they're going to have some opportunities here. Playing some weaker teams in the NHL. The Sharks, they're taking them on Monday. Sharks might be the worst team in hockey right now. And they're playing the Flames on Wednesday. Now, the Flames got off to a good start as well. But I think the consensus and the feeling that you get is, that's eventually going to cool down. They're going to throw a little water on the fire, a little water on the flames, so to speak. They're going to be cooled down quite a bit. So I would love to see them in these winnable games, try to take this approach, just get the puck on net, keep it low. Don't try to top shelf it. Don't try to go bar down. Don't do anything that if you miss the net would go sailing over the fence and hit your neighbor's window. Keep the pucks low. Shoot for rebounds. I think that would put Utah Hockey Club in a much better position to turn this offense around. We're looking to solve problems here. We're looking to keep things positive, and that's a central tenet of what we do here at Utah Hockey Club. I was at the Colorado game last week, and I had a lot of fun. I used tickets that I got for free from my SEG Plus membership. If you sign up for SEG Plus, SEG Plus, do they call it SEG Plus or SEG Plus? I don't know either. I'm just going to call it SEG Plus. If they don't like it, they can send me a note. But anyway, so I got the free tickets that came from signing up early for that, and I've really enjoyed SEG Plus, by the way. I think the broadcast has improved tremendously. I know I was critical at first. for the preseason broadcast. They were a little rough. I had that explained to me how that happened. And it makes perfect sense. And I think you're not going to see a broadcast like that ever again from SCG Media. But, I signed up for Seg Plus. I get these free tickets, but they came with the stipulation and the disclaimer that they were going to be in the single goal view seats. And I thought it was just so interesting to me to just sort of be in that space. Because, I obviously, we all knew that this was going to be one of the big points of criticism for the Utah Hockey Club from the good folks down in Arizona who are a little sad to be losing their team, and maybe some national media people who like to be critical because that's their thing. But this was the view from the Colorado game I had, and it was bad. I'll just say that it wasn't good. This is literally it. You can see here, not only was the goal missing, but most of the offensive zone. So I can't, from the top of the circle down, couldn't see anything. So the players essentially became invisible at a certain point. All 12 of them disappeared. Especially, I think this was the end Colorado shot on twice. So, again, I was really excited to see Cale Makar in action. I was like, maybe we'll see a Cale Makar goal. And sure enough, Cale Makar did score, but I didn't see it at all. I had no idea he had scored. It's sort of like an interesting exercise to be watching the game from this perspective. And they tell you on the ticket, they're like, okay, don't worry, you can look up and look at the Jumbotron. That's how you can catch everything. But it is a little disorienting because it's not the same angle right there on the video board. I wonder if there's a way they could set it up so that the people on the on those those single goal view seats can see what's happening on the video board from that same angle. Keep it at a fixed perspective, because then to look up and have to reorient where everybody's at, that was a little bit challenging. So I totally get it. I'm glad I didn't pay for these tickets. I'm glad they're free. I think giving them for free is the right approach, because had I paid for these seats, I would have been a little irritated. But what was fun is I was sitting there, and someone tapped me on the shoulder, and they're like, "Are you Austin?" And I was not wearing my hat, and I was not wearing SLC puck gear, but I still got recognized. And here's the craziest part: it was by a female viewer, and I didn't even know I had a single female viewer, because I could see the analytics on my channel. And let me say, it's overwhelmingly male. I think it indicates that it's about 99% male. But I think a representative from the 1%, my female viewers, just happened to be sitting behind me. I believe her name was Riley. And if she's watching the show, and I'm hoping I hope I get her name right. It was really nice of her to say hi. It was a lot of fun there. You'll have to tell me how I did on my date, by the way, Riley, because I brought a date with me to games. She showed up late, whatever, who cares? But anyway, Riley, tap it and just tell everybody how I did on my date. That'd be a lot of fun. But again, these seats are they're really interesting, and all I could think was it is kind of fun when the play's going the right way, when it's going towards that far goal. It feels like you're playing NHL 25 just from that perspective. I thought it'd be funny just to have a controller with me and just feign like I'm playing NHL 25 from that perspective, because that is what it looks like. And it's fun to be there on that end and just watch the play develop. You can see sort of the rotation, the cycles that happen, the breakouts, how they drew them up on the whiteboard, so to speak. It's a lot of fun to watch from that perspective. And I think in 3 or 4 years, these seats are going to be awesome. I would buy season tickets for this area if they didn't have this freaking overhang right here that made it impossible to see the play for, a considerable amount of time. I'll say that. But I thought that was kind of an interesting perspective. And, I had that thought again when I was in Anaheim the week before, because I was there for the Anaheim game. And I was sitting here, I was lower bowl of the seat. Yeah, I splurged a little bit, for these seats. But I was like, man, it's interesting that these seats here at the Honda Center don't exist at the Delta Center as it is now. And it, again, so interesting to be there at the Honda Center. It really is like the antithesis. Am I saying that right? I say words wrong sometimes. Antithesis, I think, sounds right. But it's like, the Honda Center was built solely for hockey, right? I don't know if you knew this, but Anaheim does not have an NBA franchise. The Clippers play at the new Intuit Dome. But they played at the Staples Center. Crypto.com. I can't get used to that, by the way. It's called Crypto.com Arena. I still call it Staples Center, where the Lakers play. But Honda Center, which was formerly the Arrowhead Pond, much better name, I'll say that, was built specifically for hockey, and it shows when you're in the building. Like, every seat has a great perspective of the ice. Again, this seat would not exist at the Delta Center, which is built solely for basketball. So I'm really excited to see how the Delta Center evolves, how they end up doing that. You know, Chris Armstrong was on a podcast. I'm forgetting which one. I believe it was the All City podcast, the All City Utah Hockey podcast, when they were like, hey, so what's the plan? And he was like, yeah, well, we want to get to 17,000, which happens to be the capacity at the Honda Center. But again, not a ton of information how they're going to make that happen. It seems like it's a pretty incredible challenge that they have from an engineering standpoint. Like, it's going to be an immense undertaking to get the Delta Center to the point where it's looking like the Honda Center. But I am excited. And again, when that happens, I think this seat right here is going to be a really good one. And so that was a lot of fun to see. Hopefully I'll bump into Riley again. That was a lot of fun to talk with her, especially talk with a female fan, get her perspective on that. Because it's funny. Like, I think, like, there are a lot of female fans in Utah who, like, sports fans who are really liking hockey. Like, my sister and mom are watching all the games. Obviously they're very invested in the show. My sister does my freaking makeup, by the way, so I really appreciate her for that. It just seems like there's, like, such a big opportunity to really pop with the female market here. And by the way, the PWHL, the Professional Women's Hockey League, is really good. The quality of play in professional hockey is really, really good among the females. And I believe there's going to be, like, an exhibition. I think Team USA and Team Canada, their women's teams, are playing at the Maverick Center in November. And I think that's going to be a good one to go see for sure. So maybe we'll get tickets to go see that. I think that'll be a lot of fun. But that's that. I hope Utah Hockey Club shoots better. I sort of have an interesting idea, maybe for something they could do in practice, right? So let's just imagine that this is like the practice net, right? Here's how they can teach the guys to avoid shooting around the net in this area. What if they surrounded the net with, like, priceless works of art? Like, they had, like, the Mona Lisa, they had some stuff by Picasso, they had, those are the only two artists. That's how cultured I am. I could name two artists. But what if they surrounded the net with framed, or maybe pictures of their families would be kind of funny too. But the idea is you don't want to hit the area outside of the net, guys. Work on hitting the net. You hit the net, good things happen, okay? So I don't know what they have to do, but they got to figure that out, all right? They got to hit the net. And I'm optimistic. I'm choosing to be optimistic they will. And the reason why I'm choosing to be optimistic is because the Utah Hockey Club had a really tender, sweet moment. They're doing things right. And what I'm referring to is Maverick Lamoureux's NHL debut, which was against the Avalanche. And I thought he played a decent game, by the way. But obviously that was kind of the big story of the game. They talked about it a lot on the broadcast. I went back and watched the broadcast so I could actually watch the goals that I missed. But it was really kind of special. And Nick Olchek, who is the studio host, does a little bit of color commentary, says something that I thought was, like, right on the money. He's like, hockey is such a family sport, and it's really special for these guys when they make it to the NHL, when they have their rookie lap, when they make their debut, to have their families there with them. And I'm morning skate, when Maverick Lamoureux, and by the way, I get why my cousin likes him, by the way. My cousin has a crush on him. And, it's not my thing, but I get it, right? I get what the appeal is. He's a handsome guy. He's got a French accent, all that good stuff. But it's funny. He was talking in the morning skate about how he was, a little bit bummed out that his family was having a hard time getting from Montreal, the Quebec area, down to Salt Lake for the game. But the Utah Hockey Club, they made it happen. They surprised the big fella and got his family to his debut. And I just want to play this video here. It was the best thing I saw this last week, mostly because the games were crummy. The Utah Hockey Club played bad. But this video almost made up for it, more than made up for it here. So let's just tune in, and I'll let you guys just listen to this a little bit. September 10th here. This is preseason. Talking about how his goal is to play with the team this year. There he is, the rookie face-off in LA. They're building the narrative here. These are his parents. There they are. That was a good surprise. That's good stuff. That kind of makes me tear up a little bit. I did not make an NHL debut. I didn't make it. I was shooting way too many pucks over the fence and into my neighbor's kitchen. It didn't happen for me, but you can just see the joy on Maverick Lamoureux's face. Nick Olchek said he was smiling bigger than a butcher's dog, I think was the expression. And I probably butchered that. Sorry, Nick. But, that was great to see. A ton of fun. Even when they lost, Lamoureux couldn't wipe the smile off of his face. Super cool to see that, and super, happy that his family could make it and be there to support him. So that was a lot of fun. And we'll end on that. I think it's a 3-game losing streak. There's a lot to be, concerned about, but hey, it's a long season. It's not as bad as the University of Utah's losing streak, so that's a positive, right? Ugh, drives me crazy. But anyway, that's the show tonight. Episode 52 of SLC Puck in the books. It's on its way to the Library of Congress. That's not really true, but yeah, it's just a funny way I like to say it. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe. slcpuck.shop for merch. Do you like the new show? Does it look better? I got a new computer, huh? I got to pay for that somehow. So go to slcpuck.shop, buy some merch, keep supporting the show, and stay tuned for more. We'll talk soon. Thanks, guys.